All right, good afternoon. My name is Kevin O'Brien. I'm the Capital Asset Senior Accountant. I'm here with Jackie Hypes, who's Capital Asset, Capital Projects, and Debt Manager, and Bill Matthews, who's the Asset Manager Consultant. We're going to be presenting today the physical inventory report for the inventory approver role. So the presentation today, first we're going to talk about for an asset. We're going to go into using the new physical inventory system, some additional information, and then some important dates. First up, the criteria for an asset. An asset is furniture, fixtures, and equipment that has a value of $5,000 or greater and a useful life of over 2 years. Sometimes software can be considered an asset if it has a value of over $100,000, but that's a rare occurrence. In prior years, inventory was taken from a printed copy that was signed and returned. Last year, we moved to an Excel spreadsheet. And this year, we're moving to using PeopleSoft for the inventory, which will make a list of departments' assets available year-round. An overview of the process. The inventory users will locate, review, and update the assets in the system. They'll then forward it on to you, who will approve or reject the inventory assets, and then that will flow through to me, the inventory approver, and I'll review and post them. This session will focus on the inventory approver role. In order to approve or reject asset physical inventory information, inventory approvers will need to navigate to the asset inventory review and update page in PeopleSoft. To get there, you click on the main menu drop down, go to asset management, go over to physical inventory, and then to USC inventory review and update. This page presents all the assets for which an approver is responsible, and each asset will have 2 rows. The top row will show the original asset information, while the bottom row shows the information the inventory user updated. And I'll show you what that looks like now. Switch role. I just have to switch over to the approver role right now. I am? Okay. Never mind. All right. And you can, here's the list of assets, and this is the original information that was in the system. Down here you see the information that the inventory user adjusted. Right here you see they changed the location from the James F. Burns building to Williams-Brice building auditorium. And also right up here, that's important just to see if you wanted to sort the assets somehow, maybe by location, you can export it to Excel and sort it that way. And there's also all these tabs up here that also show information that may have been updated. Let's go through everything that the inventory approvers can do on the inventory review update page. First, you can use the inventory status field to approve or reject an inventory transaction. Sorry about that. Let me back up. You can utilize the apply to all buttons in the page header to efficiently approve or reject multiple inventory transactions at once. And you can also utilize the filters in the page header to limit the number of assets that are displayed. So first, you can use the inventory status field to approve or reject an inventory transaction. There's a drop-down menu right there, and there will be several options for each asset. Inventory approvers can only select the approve or reject values for inventory status. When it gets to you, each will show the pending approval status. Originally, when the user sees the assets for the first time, they'll have a status of new. they can move it to a status of hold in order to work on that asset, just to let the approver know and anybody else who's looking at the inventory that they're working on it, and maybe they're researching which building it's in or something like that. So after the user has touched it and adjusted anything they need to, they send it to a pending approval status. Again, you either approve it or reject it. And when you reject it, an email will be sent to the inventory user. After it's approved, I'll take a look at it and I'll move it. I'll either reject it, which once again will send an email to the inventory user and bounce back to them, or I'll change it to be posted. From there, it'll be in process overnight and have a final status of posted the next morning. So the eventual goal is for all of the assets to have a posted status. And right here's the drop-down menu that we were just talking about. You can also utilize the Apply to All button in the page header. And I'll show you what that looks like right now. Right up here, you can set the inventory status and the selected value, so on all rows, so that where that field is editable. So we can just select approve just to see, I'm sorry. And you can only change it for the selections that you're actually able to. So you wouldn't be able to change it to hold, because that's something that only the inventory user can do. You can only change it to rejected or approved. So we can hit approved, go to apply it all, and all the inventory statuses for all 369 assets that are showing up right here will show as approved where you were able to. You see them. But some of the statuses, of course, they show as new, so they weren't editable by you. And after you set that, you want to go down there and hit save to save your changes. Let me try. And if you try and use the drop-down inventory status option that you're not able to, there'll be a little pop-up message saying that you're not able to enter that. And finally, you can utilize the filters in the page header to limit the number of assets displayed. I'll show you how to do that. You can do it by inventory status, inventory code, inventory department, operating unit, asset ID, and tag number. So if you're only wanting to approve, if you want to look for all items that have let me reset this. If you want to look up assets that have a status of pending, it switches to the 5 assets that have a status of pending. You can also see if there's any assets that were marked as stolen, for example. And fortunately, no assets were marked as stolen. Just to reset it, you go to the blank space and get back there. So you'd ideally want to use the pending approval and just to view the all 5 that are pending your approval, that you'd want to go ahead and change to. We can go ahead and change one to approved and go down and save. All right. Are there any questions at this point?
If you have any questions, you can key those into the chat box at the bottom left corner of your screen.
All right. Good group. All right. Some additional information, I'll be your point of contact throughout this whole process. You can just email me at any time, o'brien4@mailbox.sc.edu. There's also a revised property accountability policy out there. It was just needed to address changes in the process due to the implementation of One Carolina. Yes, you're either approving, or just to answer that question, you're just approving or rejecting transactions. And real quick to go back to when you hit approve, let me find my mouse. There it is. Okay. For some reason, the pop-up box isn't working. I think there's some interference. Let me try. Usually, once you choose to approve and then go down and save, there's a certification that shows up just to confirm that you're certifying that all the assets are correct. Let me try that one more time. Okay. Are there any more questions?
Yeah, we do have a couple more questions.
Okay.
Marlene would like to know if there would be an email notification that there are changes needing approval.
No, I don't believe there is. You'll just need to check and keep in touch with whoever your inventory user is. Maybe, I don't think you need to check that often, maybe weekly, just to see if there's anything out there that needs your approval, unless they've, and if you're in touch with them, then you can just log in, or you'll know when to log in and check out that screen. And really, that's all that'll pop up. Once they process them, that's when they'll show up as needing your approval.
Okay, great. Ruth would like to know, will items from last year's Excel spreadsheet be auto-populated in PeopleSoft for administrative staff, or will they have to start from scratch with entering inventory?
No, they won't have to enter any inventory. This will be all the assets showing up. All of these assets are taken directly from PeopleSoft, so it's real time. Say if I was to say, oh, this asset should have been on engineering's inventory, and I make the change in the department ID field to move it to the engineering's inventory, it'll move from whatever inventory it was in before and show up on engineering. So this is real time. All the data is in PeopleSoft.
Dale would like to know if you could give an example of a transaction that would not be approved.
Let's see. Well, say for example, an asset is marked as stolen, and up here you can scroll through. If you see an asset, the status is stolen, or I'm sorry, the inventory code is stolen. You want to go over here. There's these tabs up here that show you more information about it, serial number. Sometimes they have the PO number, voucher ID, and once again, the fields that are down here are editable, so you can, the user would be able to change the serial number and also the department number. But back here is the comment section, and if there's anything that was stolen, we would need to input a USCPD report number in that field, and if something was lost, maybe share in there the circumstances surrounding it. But so if there's not backup for that information, you would need to send it back to the user for them to get that information in there. And also if something looks strange, maybe if there was a possible error, like you see here, everything seems to be in the science building, but this asset right here, for some reason, is at 1600 Hampton Street Annex, and it's an evaporator rotary HEI VAP. And 1600 Street, if your department doesn't have anything at that location, I know that's like the police department here on campus, so I can't imagine they'd need that evaporator. And it's showing up on your inventory, you're responsible for it, so you might just want to look through and double check to just to eyeball any changes to make sure that they make sense. All right. No problem, Ruth. Okay. And some important dates. Annual physical inventory process will begin on Monday, March 19th. Plenty of time to recover Sunday from St. Patrick's Day, so your staff can hit the ground running. You're going to be granted access to the new physical inventory system on that date, so you guys should be able to log into PeopleSoft, navigate to that on that path, and see all the inventory in your department. And the annual physical inventory process will end on Friday, May 4th. If you've got a lot of assets or you've run into some trouble, you can request an extension by emailing me and letting me know the circumstances. And you can find resources referenced in this presentation, such as the transfer forms and the retirement forms or deletion forms out there on the controller's website. You just click I, scroll down, and go to the inventory, click on that, and the deletion request, transfer request will show up there. Also, here's some general accounting resources if you need to contact us about your W-9s or journal entries or banking transfers. All our email addresses are out there. And also, this presentation is being recorded, fortunately, I guess, for all my tongue twisters, and it'll be out there on the PeopleSoft training related resources tab under general accounting. I believe that the presentations from already out there. I think we're going to make the PeopleSoft slides available out there as well. Bill's coming up with some job aids. That's just a PDF of the process to follow for the inventory user, inventory approver roles. And as always, I'll be available by email or phone if you have any questions or concerns. So are there any other questions? All right. Well, thank you very much. I hope you have a good Thursday.